Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Echo45 Advisors Market and Economic Update. In this video, we'll discuss the upcoming midterm election and what it means for investors and their portfolios. With campaigns intensifying across the country, it's natural to wonder whether the election should influence your investment decisions. Politics have grown more divisive in recent years, which makes it even harder to separate personal views from financial planning. The short answer is that history consistently shows that Washington politics matter far less to long-term portfolio outcomes than many people might expect. Over the next few minutes, we'll walk through why that is and how investors can stay focused on what actually drives long-term results. First, let's look at how markets have actually performed during midterm election years. It might seem natural to assume that election years bring more volatility or even weaker returns. After all, elections shape the direction of policy on taxes, spending, and more. But the historical record tells a different story. Since the Great Depression, stock market returns have been positive across different types of election and non-election years, under Republicans, Democrats, and divided governments. When years were negative, it was due to the underlying economic environment, not simply because an election was happening. For example, 2022 was a difficult year because of inflation in the wake of the pandemic, and 2018 saw concerns about global growth and Fed policy. The midterm election itself was not the driver in either case. It's also worth noting that longer-term market trends from the technology revolution of the 1990s to today's AI innovation have largely been driven by forces that have little to do with who controls Congress. Next, this chart highlights the fact that the business cycle and interest rates have historically been far more significant drivers of market performance than the outcome of any particular election. This is partly because political change tends to happen incrementally. Even when policy shifts appear significant, such as changes to taxes or tariffs, the effects on the broader economy often take time to materialize and are shaped by many other factors. Corporate earnings, inflation, and employment trends are influenced by forces well beyond what any single Congress can control. This year's election is taking place against a backdrop of geopolitical tensions, inflation, and rapid technological change. These factors have been larger drivers of markets than the specifics of individual congressional races. Let's also keep in mind that the major stock market indices have generated strong returns this year despite periods of uncertainty, which underscores that the broader environment matters more than the election calendar. Finally, perhaps the most important perspective for long-term investors is that markets have grown steadily across many different political cycles over the past century. This chart shows the S&P 500's long-term growth spanning different political periods, wars, recessions, and major policy shifts. This track record doesn't mean that policy is unimportant. Debates around the federal debt, taxes, defense spending, and tariffs have real consequences over time. But the key is distinguishing between what we can and cannot control when it comes to our portfolios. Voters should make their voices heard at the ballots. The important thing is not to let political views drive financial decisions. We hope you found these perspectives helpful. If you would like to discuss how the current environment affects your portfolio or financial plan in more detail, please don't hesitate to reach out. We look forward to speaking with you.